right on time. So good to see everybody. And I hope everybody's had a pretty good past few weeks since our last meeting. We did decide we were going to meet this month because there's so much going on. And we're all here. So thank you, everybody. It's good to see you. We have a quorum. We know it's an open meeting. And I don't think I have to go any further with all of that.
Where'd everybody go?
We're all here. There's Matthew. Matthew's just joining us. Hi, Matthew.
Hello, everyone.
So, I have a few announcements, but I'm going to open it up to all of you. If anyone has any announcements they would like to share with our audience or with each other, all of us, please do so. And then I'll go through. I have a few I want to call attention to things. Ann Lee.
Yeah, just again, I'd like to remind everybody that there is a free little pantry at the Common at the First Baptist Church. And I just want to thank people who have been donating. It's amazing the amount of donations that we've been receiving. I put a big plastic bin out there so that you could put your donations in the bin. So if it rains or something, the food won't get wet. But thank you, thank you, thank you. It's been amazing.
That I think speaks always as Littleton is. And, you know, it's a great community. So, and people help people. Anyone else from the board or I guess have an announcement they'd like to make? No, if not, as I said, I have a few, and I'm going to steal probably a little thunder from Nicole, but I really want to call attention to the fact that Elder and Human Services is in need of part-time van drivers. And I think that we're still looking. We need help in that area. Transportation is becoming busier and busier once again. So it's a great part-time job for people. Pass the word to your friends, neighbors, etc., and see if we can't help out in some way in fulfilling that need. And also, I would like again to recognize Anita and Susan for the wonderful job they're doing with the Highlights LCTV program that they tape every month to get information out to the community about the services that EHS provides to not only seniors, but the entire town. There's just a wealth of information that needs to be shared, and they do a great job doing that. Thank you both. It's extra work for you, for both of you, and for Mark Corey. I need to thank him too, because he's extremely helpful and supportive of their efforts. So watch the show if you haven't. It's a great, you know, it's not long, but tons of information. So
Mark makes us look good. Quite true.
He's pretty good at that. He's pretty talented. And another thing I wanted to also call people's attention to is this wonderful barbecue that's going to be held August 20th at Long Lake. That is sponsored by Park and Rec and Department of Elder and Human Services. You know, and the capacity for this is 100 people, folks. So take advantage of it. It's at 12 noon at Long Lake on, I believe it's the 20th. Am I correct, Nicole? Yes. Yeah, great. Yeah, you just have to call and sign up, you know, and it's coming up soon. And there's a rain date even for it. If it rains, I think it's being held the 27th. So, and also two more things and then I'll stop. But excuse me, this August, Littleton has resumed their third Thursday events in Fay Park, and EHS and the COA will have a table there, and that is coming up. That's on the 19th. So I discuss that a little bit more with the board later on, but I want people to be aware that it's happening. We're back to getting out and being able to go around and visit people. So, and we will have a table there in an effort to reach out to people and share, you know, information. So, and lastly, I just want to call people's attention to the select board's meeting this coming Wednesday night, when they will be meeting with the Lupoli Company, I think it is, regarding a proposition that they have for the development of the IBM property. And most residents in Littleton know that IBM is vacated the property there, and it's a critically important piece of property in this, practically in the center of town. So it would be interesting to hear what they are proposing as far as the development goes. And I encourage people to watch. If not, it will be taped, my understanding is, and you'll be able to see a tape of the meeting anyway. But just be aware, things are happening in town.
Now, that's not on Zoom though, right, Marge? You have to attend that meeting.
That meeting is in person, correct? The select board meetings are held in person only now. So you have to, but as I said, I understand it's being taped. But you're
And
right.
It's also, it's being taped and it's also on live cable.
Good.
So you can watch it that way. The other, can I add something, Marge?
Absolutely. Go right ahead.
Another thing going on in town too that is interesting to keep track of is the Littleton Station Area Committee is having meetings. Their meetings are live too, but they're also can be seen on cable. And I'm pretty sure they've been recorded. But anyway, they're addressing all people's concerns, not just neighbors, but citizens' concerns. Last week's was public safety, so they had the police and fire there to talk about those issues for that area. And that's another thing that's happening in town and good to keep abreast of.
Right. Yeah, these are all important, areas and topics, really important to the whole town. So. Anyone else? Did their mind get joggled with everything that's been talked about? No? Okay. Great, then we're going to move on to accept the minutes of the July 12th, 2021 meeting. And I apologize publicly to Marilyn because I didn't send her the logo to put on the agenda in time. So, but she will be using the logo when she does the minutes and submits them next month.
Well, I know that Marilyn was nervous about doing the minutes, and I just want to say she did a phenomenal job. They're very well done.
They are
Thank you,
done.
Anita.
Well,
They are.
we're very fortunate that you're doing this for us, Marilyn. Thank you. So, do we have a motion regarding the minutes?
So moved.
Ann Lee,
Yep.
and second?
Second.
Yep,
Who said it first? I don't know who said it.
Anita,
Anita? Okay. Thank you. Okay, do we have a motion on the floor? Moved and seconded to accept the minutes of the July 12th, 2021 meeting. All those in favor, please raise your hands. I'm not doing the roll call. I'm looking carefully for hands here. It looks to me like we have a majority now that I got mine up. Unanimous vote. Thank you all. Okay. Moving on to the Friends report. I do not see that we have anyone present with us from the Friends, and so I'm going to suggest that we postpone a report from them until next month when we meet. If that's okay with the group. I not believe we have to have a vote on that, but if anyone has a reason why they would not want to do that, let me know. Please speak up. So. Okay, thank you. I'm sure that somebody will be with us next month. They usually are here, and I'm sure there's very good reasons why they're not here today. A lot going on, and maybe they're busy also. All right, that moves us right into old business. And I would like to just update you, and Matthew might be able to add to this too, the feasibility study. I can share with you that a group of 11 people toured Marlboro Nursing Home, and, well, I missed the Groton one, but the rest of the group all toured, I think with the exception of Nicole and myself, toured the Groton facility a week or so ago. And it was a wonderfully a group of people. There were 3 members of LLB, the architect firm.
Excuse me, Marge, you
Yes.
did say the Marlboro Nursing Home. That
Oh,
isn't what,
did I?
yes.
I have a terrible time. I think, forgive me, everybody. It's the senior center.
That's what I thought.
Yes, it is. And I'm glad you brought that to my attention because I think it must be because of my history, because of the 18 years I worked in private practice in nursing homes that I have this on the brain. So I apologize to everyone. It is senior centers. We visited Marlboro and Groton. There were 3 architects from LLB present. There were 2 people from Vertex, our OPM people in Littleton. There were 2 selectmen, myself, Nicole. There was Joe Layden and Anthony. It was a very versed group of different skill sets of people and a wonderful tour. The director there was very gracious and spent time with us and didn't rush people through. She answered questions and everything. I was unable to attend the one in Groton. They are planning a second group of visits. Right now, it's not confirmed, but I believe it's being planned for the 18th, if possible, 17th of August, I think. But they're working on setting up the schedule for that to happen. So there will be another day spent visiting senior centers coming up soon. And I do not know of anything else, but that pertains to the feasibility study. Matthew, do you have anything? that you
No, I
could
have
add?
no more information than that. You did a great job summarizing.
Yeah, it was a great group of people and great questions. Nicole was there too, right? Nicole,
Yes, it was wonderful.
it was, and people, the architects and people, everybody, the Vertex people, they were asking wonderful questions of the director. So, and it's quite an amazing building. So. Any questions or anyone else have anything to add about the feasibility study? It's moving along, but slowly. And I don't believe any more than maybe one more day is going to be spent visiting senior centers, but I'm not sure about that even. So stay tuned. But I wanted to share that information with you. Any questions from anybody? No? Okay, then that moves us on to new business. And I have on the agenda revisit officers because I have been approached and I can't put words into people's mouths, but I do believe we need to revisit the slate of officers that we have. It's not myself, but David has indicated to me that he would like to step down from the vice chair position. Am I correct, David?
Yes.
Yes. You want to add anything to that?
Well,
Whatever.
no, you pretty much covered most of it already, but anyway, I when Mark nominated me, I was like totally shocked, okay, right out of my senses. And I would have respectively declined the nomination, but then again, nobody else was heard. So I guess I felt like I should step up at least. Okay, and I found out not 20 minutes later or an hour later that there was somebody else that was actually interested in the job and happened to mention that. And I feel that it would be a much better for the whole COA if I was to step down and that person could get nominated and step in to be a very good fit, a very, very good fit. So that's my reasoning.
All right, well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Well, I'm not going anywhere.
Well, I hope not, David.
No.
Please,
No.
don't.
But I think I might be the only, I'm not sure, but I might be the only one here. Actually, there's people here that are working right now or in their jobs, but I might be the only one still working a regular job. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about Matthew or anybody else, but it's beginning to be a little bit of a strain to do that and then get here. And that's actually, after that, I'd like to, after we're done here somewhere, I would like to revisit the meeting time also. It's not on the agenda, so I thought I'd just mention it.
No, I think we decided at our last meeting that we were going to wait until the LCTV has the additional rooms refurbished, and then we were going to talk about, there'll be more flexibility in the scheduling options. And we're going to revisit rescheduling the time of the meeting then. But I regretfully accept your resignation, David.
Thank you.
So I would ask the board then to reconsider and nominate someone to fill the vacancy of the vice chair position for the board.
I nominated Anita Harding
Second,
with pleasure.
All right, we have
Who seconded?
Ann Lee.
Ann Lee.
Okay, thank you, Ann.
Okay, there are other nominations on the floor. If not, are we ready to take a vote on that? No discussion? Okay. We have a motion on the floor to elect Anita Harding to the position of vice chair of the COA board. It has been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please raise your hands. Let's see. It looks unanimous again, once again, it's a unanimous vote. Well, welcome, Anita.
Thank you.
You're going to add more to your duties now. So
Yes, I guess I am.
please be around when it comes time to plan the agenda. That's one thing you can always count on happening. The vice chair always is involved in planning the agenda for meetings. So
Okay.
just a heads up about that. Usually the week before the meeting, so get it on your calendar, please. Okay. All right, and moving on then. We're going right along, and this is great. We might have a short meeting today. I hesitate to say that, but we might. So our rules and regulations state that at the, beginning of the new fiscal year, we review the membership of subcommittees. And we did not get that done at our last meeting, so it is on the agenda today. And we had some problems with not having enough people, especially on the housing subcommittee. David, you were on that.
Yep.
Patty, yep, you are, correct. And Susan, right? Yes. And then Patty Hunt was a member at large. And we all are aware of Patty's situation right now, but she has not resigned. I'm not indicating that. But we only had 3 members on the subcommittee. Our 4th member was absent. So we need someone we need to talk about both subcommittees. So, and decide whether the people wish to change. This is the time to do it. If you wish to switch around and do something different, the time is always at this point in the calendar year. So my question to both boards, the visioning subcommittee as well as the housing subcommittee, is to think about that. And if anyone wishes to step down from a position, let us know. And then if people would be willing to join, that would be nice too, because we do need, you can't really, the subcommittee is at a hardship with only 3 members. And for people that are new, the subcommittees are developed because it's sometimes easier to work with a small group of people than it is with, a group of 9 people to get things accomplished. And the mission and the focus of the visioning subcommittee is to work towards getting the senior center. And so that means the whole reaching out issue and everything should come under their area. And we're under the board's guidance and direction. the same with the housing issues that are going on. And it's hard to keep track of everything because there's so many groups in town working on the housing issues in Littleton. As Susan mentioned, she was talking about the Littleton Station Group. There's the Affordable Housing Trust. There's, obviously the planning board. And there's lots of groups to pay attention to and keep track of what's happening. And we need people to help with that endeavor. So I would venture to say, I think people would agree that probably the visioning subcommittee will be much busier than the housing subcommittee in the next few months, but that could change. So that's the reason why this is on the agenda. And I would ask you, those people who are members of the subcommittees, if you wish to stay or wish to change, speak up now. And other board members, if you could step forward and help on one of those subcommittees, that would be helpful to the groups.
I will step up and say I would like to stay on the visioning subcommittee.
I will too.
Ann Lee staying? Ann Lee and Anita?
And
Mark, are you staying on your chair, Mark?
I will do whichever needs bodies.
Oh, okay.
And-
So we have Susan
yes, I'll stay on too.
stay on the visioning subcommittee or the housing?
I'll stay on both.
Okay. All right, that's great.
Marge, I would love to be on the visioning committee.
Okay. So that would bring it to 5, right? Am I right? Yes. Which is fine. Okay. I believe that, am I right? Ann Lee, Anita, Mark, Susan, and Marilyn on the visioning subcommittee?
I think 5 is probably too many because now you have a quorum of the COA members, right?
Oh, you could say that.
All right, then,
But I'm more than willing to step away and help on the housing or wherever I'm needed. So
Well, and housing does need help, I think. And I'm sorry to say, I'm not too sure.
Sue's trying to speak.
I'm sorry. Sorry, Susan.
that's all right. I'll step down off of vision then. That's fine. I think Mark needs to stay there because he's at least had experience with building and dealing with town administration on that. So I think Mark definitely needs to stay on the vision subcommittee.
Okay. All right.
So that would let let Marilyn
You right.
on to vision.
Join the visioning. Okay.
Yep.
Then we have the housing subcommittee and we have David. Are you staying on the housing still, Susan?
Yes.
Okay. And we need help. We could use one more person on the housing subcommittee.
Yeah, we do.
I mean, Patty Hunt is on it, but right now she's unable to, be active. So,
All right, you put my name in.
okay, thank you, Gary. I mean, those are the two areas of need that the board has identified is the housing issues in town that we need to be paying attention to, as well as, obviously the senior center. So I appreciate that. So
Could I make a suggestion
yes, you can.
to possibly ask Lorelei, if she could sort of like be an associate member to the vision committee that could help us with getting information out to people and writing newspaper articles or things to help with us, or would she not need to be an associate member, just call her when we need help? And would she be willing to do that?
I'm absolutely willing to help in that capacity. That sounds right up my alley. I'll leave it up to you all if the membership needs to be as an associate member, or just call me when you need me, whatever makes more sense.
I think, anybody have a comment about that? I have a thought.
I don't know
So-
if the associate member would mean we'd have a quorum.
I don't
Right.
think,
So can I speak? I think you can attend the meet, so you could basically attend the meetings, but you wouldn't be able to vote on the things. So any COA member can attend, but only the people on the committee can vote.
right,
So the associate member would basically be either asking you to attend the meeting or asking you after the meeting to do X, Y, and Z. I think that's what Anita's alluding to, right?
Right,
correct.
because we're gonna need help, stuff out.
Those meetings are not taped. But, and I do not think, I think to answer Lorelai's question, I mean, you have, obviously, Mark would get in touch with you and say, hey, we would love to have, you know, an article or your ideas, or I will share with the board if it's okay with you, Lorelai, but she has already been wonderful as far as sharing ideas about reaching out. And after our last meeting, last month, I mean, the meeting wasn't over an hour and she had sent me an email already with suggestions about how to market things. So there's no question in my mind that she's willing to help. And I think as far as, being present, it's not necessary, you know,
Right.
necessarily.
Right, but the marketing is a big deal, and
Correct.
as long as she's willing to help us market, we should start doing something with that.
I'm all for that personally. Yes, Jamie.
I
Thank
just,
you.
I know I'm not a voting member, but Lorelai and for the rest of the group, I just want to throw this out. It doesn't have to be decided today. But Lorelai has a wonderful experience in, you know, geriatric issues, but visioning for a center, it takes a different kind of exposure. So I just would put it out there. I'm not saying she would have to attend, but probably attending would be helpful. Because even if you're gifted in writing something, understanding in this particular case, in particular with, this has a lot of moving parts and specificity about certain things. So I wouldn't discount the idea of her needing to be there. That's up to you guys, but I'm just throwing that out from my experience.
I think that's a good point, Jamie. Thank you. And also, though, it makes me realize, I'm sitting here thinking about it, those meetings are not taped. They have not been on Zoom because they're small groups and they're not that formal. So it might be easier for Lorelai to attend if she wished to, I think, with given her situation with her children. And she's offered to attend other meetings too, if, you know, and I think, I don't know how the group would feel about that, but you have a small group of people. And usually the meeting, you know, might be held in room 103, you know, wherever. So it might be easier for that to happen for you. I'm just throwing it out as a thought and a possibility. But so,
Well, I think we're free to meet until the governor and town say otherwise. We're free to meet in person or over Zoom. So
right,
we can figure out as the committee and which is best. And all the meetings are public meetings, so anyone can attend.
that's true.
So,
That's right. Usually not too many people from the public attend the subcommittee meetings, but you never know. I mean, they are public meetings also, so.
And also, if we can convince Marilyn to take minutes at those meetings, she could always send those to Lorelai.
Please.
We're gonna do that.
What? But not like maybe the following day. It depends on when you meet and whether it is a PMBC meeting where we've just talked about the senior center, which Anthony talked about at the last PMBC meeting, you know, because I also take the minutes for PMBC. So I'm also there every week, as Mark knows.
yes.
Mark, tell her when the meetings usually are. We haven't changed the time and dates of the meetings, so.
We were meeting on Mondays at 1:30 the week before the COA meetings. So
Oh,
First Monday of the month.
okay. Like September, you won't have one because that would be Labor Day.
Oh,
That would-
that might be true. I guess. So I haven't looked at the calendar for that far in advance. but-
We definitely should pick a different day for September because we haven't met for a couple of months and we really need to get on this stuff.
And you,
So
I'll-
if we
Go
need to
ahead.
change the day, we should change the day and definitely meet in September.
Yeah, I think we need to meet in September. I didn't mean it, but just knowing it's Labor Day wouldn't be able to be meeting.
Yeah.
Well, Mark will figure it out and let us know.
Mark, just
also-
not Wednesday nights.
No,
Not
But
Wednesday
also-
nights
same
at
meeting.
PMBC.
and I think given the fact that our new director will be starting August 30th, it would be nice to get going on it right away. And the director usually attends the subcommittee meetings as well as myself. I'm an ex officio member and the director is always there to help guide, the group. So I think that would be appropriate to try to meet in September. So did Anita say it? Mark can figure it out and then send an email out.
Right.
Okay, so we have agreement about the composition of both groups. And the groups, generally, the housing subcommittee was meeting the second week of the month on Wednesday afternoons at 3:30 in person because Patty has difficulty with Zoom and hearing. And we can visit that. We'll figure that one out too as, a little bit of time goes by, I think. Does that sound good for the housing subcommittee?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. I think we have to kind of see how Patty's doing as to what her availability will be then, so. Great, thank you. We have a lot, and it's such an exciting time. I think it is anyway, and we have a lot to pay attention to and a lot to be grateful for, actually, that we are in the position that we're in. Any other thoughts about the subcommittees? We know that outreach is important and marketing is important, and there might be a need to do some marketing down the road about housing in our, positions, so stay tuned. And we'll take all the advice we can get from Lorelei, because she does have a lot of great advice, so.
I'm wondering if maybe Lorelei would have some kind of a idea for us for marketing at the third Thursday. And if she did,
She already has, yeah, I'm sorry.
I would be willing to help her with that.
Maybe this is a good time to bring up third Thursday. Not to switch subjects too fast, but I wanted to talk a little bit about that because Lorelei did suggest, and I think I've mentioned it too. I know I mentioned it to Ann Lee, but Lorelei suggested that we have a big sign saying free cookies so that people can see it from across the field even. And so, as a way of drawing people to the table. And then Ann Lee said she'd help make cookies for that. Then she said, we should serve lemonade too. Do you remember that, Ann Lee?
I do.
Yes. So my question is, we need some, Nicole has arranged for us to have the table. And we have to, of course, it requires setting up. And I think Nicole's going to be there. Will Amy be around?
I will be there. I am hoping that Amy can make it.
But-
She's going to help
Nicole-
me transport the table either way.
Okay, now, and Nicole needs help. So I know I'm going to try to be there, but I would like it if a couple of other board members could also show up and help to engage people. Even if you're not there for the entire time, if you can go for an hour or something like that. We did, the last one I did, actually Liz was here and was the director. And it was wonderful. We had a great time. Her husband came and brought her 2 kids and, it was just wonderful because she still was there and talking to people and et cetera. So it's one of those things where we need help.
I can help do setup and stuff.
Okay, so
That's
we
my
have,
whole job.
that's your, okay.
Oh, I was a worldwide marketing manager and responsible for trade shows and events all over the world.
Well, great. We'll use your expertise too, Marilyn. So
So, setting. Now, where are you going to locate the booth?
oh, I don't know where it's going to be. Do you know, Nicole?
I haven't received a map yet. Usually Park and Rec puts up a map
And do they tell you where, or do you have a choice?
They tell you where.
Oh, okay.
Usually, and usually third Thursdays get a pretty good turnout.
Yeah, they're great.
Yes.
And Ed Sweeney's is usually there, and he usually gets a good turnout, and
Wow.
people are all everywhere.
Yeah.
So do we
And
have any?
We have box of stuff from when we did the football game, and the banner is out somewhere, Nicole. I don't know where that all is, but
I can try to find it.
Nicole, it should be in a box because we had it at town meeting.
Oh,
We had
okay.
Ashley and I, and were you there, Anita? Who else was there that day? Ashley had the table set up and she had the skirt for the table and all of there is a box with the flyers, a lot of the flyers and things and that
Oh,
we handed
good.
out.
I'll try
So,
to find it. I'll find
Yeah,
it.
look for that so that we can use that. We might need a sign made for free cookies. If we're going to have the cookies, we need to decide that. They'd have to be, yes, Anley.
I think we should have it, and I'll be willing to make cookies, but I will not be here that whole week. So I'll make cookies and like put them in the freezer at our church so you could pick them up.
Yeah, we'd have to have, the cookies would have to be individually, like 2 cookies in a baggie or something.
bag,
They can't,
Right.
Everything would have to be because of COVID.
Right.
You'd have to have it. And I don't know about lemonade and how we could,
Well, we've been doing lemonade at church because we do church services outside. And it has to be paper cups only is what we've been told. And you need to wear the plastic rubber gloves in order to be pouring it and passing it out. You can't let people take their own. You have to give it to them, is what we've been told from the Board of Health.
I wonder about trash barrels, having a trash barrels around for the type of cups.
We've done it so that we don't have a trash barrel. We have a paper bag because we've been told whoever's doing the coffee hour has to take care of it all and take it back with them. Now, the town is different. The church is not in Maynard. In Littleton. So it could be something different in Littleton. I don't know. But I just know what we have to do.
Okay.
Okay.
Can anyone else be there that day other than myself and Nicole? Marilyn is going to be there to help set up.
I can be there that day.
Thank you, Susan.
And also,
I plan to be there for part of the time. But I also have a St. Vincent de Paul meeting that night, so I will be there for the beginning part of it, but I won't be able to take down.
Okay. Go ahead, Susan.
also for the, when you were saying the brochures and things that we've done at town meeting, when we did the football game with Liz, she had some big signs made that
Yes.
had information about EHS services and like the rental,
Yep.
rental assistance. So those signs would be good to use if they're still around somewhere. Nicole can go searching.
I'll
Yeah,
go
they were
hunting for them.
freestanding signs. Did you see them, Nicole?
Yes, I've seen them here somewhere recently.
Okay.
I'll find them.
Okay. All right, that's good. So, okay. Well,
Good
if
thing you don't
anyone,
have a lot of space where you have to look.
that's true.
Good point.
But then again, when we do get more space, we won't have to look very far because it will be so organized. We're going to know right where it is. So. All right. So we have Marilyn, Susan, Anita, myself, and Nicole. We should be able to manage fairly well, I think, but we're going to have to also get the table back. Park and Rec helped us before with Thursdays. Tim helped transport our table and bringing it to and from, I think, Nicole.
I can help. I can ask him for help. I'm meeting with him later this week.
Yeah, he might be of help to make it easier for us.
Yeah.
So that would be nice. Any other thoughts from anybody about that? All right, well, I'll reach out to them to do some final planning. I know I I may not bake a lot of cookies, but I was thinking even the animal crackers for small children would be good to have bags of those, because usually there's people there if it's a nice day and night, evening. You see a lot of carriages and children. So maybe something for young children would be nice if it's, sanitary, in a bag and everything. So. Okay. Any other thoughts on Third Thursday? Okay. Anybody have any comments before we move on? And it is getting to be, let's see, 2:10, not too bad. So the last actual business item I put on the agenda was, and it ties into our discussion that we've just had somewhat. It was needs to be addressed regarding the progression of increased space for elders. And so my thought was that the full board needs to give some thought to how they, if the board has a concern or a thought about how they would like to see or what they would like to see the visioning subcommittee be working on towards the senior center project. So that was the only reason I put it out there. I thought I'm going to throw it out to the board. If people have thoughts and ideas that they want the subcommittee to be really focusing on, it would be good to hear them. And it would help the subcommittee too. So that was just the only reason I put that on the agenda. It's more of a brainstorming type of topic. And Mark, I didn't even talk to Mark about it. I just put it on the agenda. So he might have something to add to that. Silence.
I would ask Gary and David if either one of them have suggestions on the younger elders, how to contact them, and what they think we should be doing to pull in the people 50 and over, because we really need to have a lot of discussion with them. And I know at town meeting, a couple of women stood up and said that they were not aware that we had had any meetings to get ideas, which we had. So we need to do something about that. And maybe Gary or David have a way of, or a networking base that we could tap into.
I think she just called you young, David.
Oh,
Yes, she did. I'm older than she is, but she called me. That's pretty cool.
Well,
Thank
I
you.
Yeah.
Ann Lee has her hand. Ann Lee's got her hand up. We're gonna let her speak.
Yeah, I spoke to Marge about this, and I don't know if it's crazy or not, but I thought of having teas at people's homes, and it doesn't necessarily have to be us, the people on the board, although somebody from the board should be at a tea to give out information, but we could reach out to people that we know who are in their 50s and early 60s and see if they would be willing to have teas like for 10 to 15 people, and just have cookies and drink at the meetings, and just give out, information about the COA and Elder and Human Services. And I think we could reach a lot of people that way if, if we did that in individual homes. People are more apt to go to somebody's house to hear something if they're invited personally, and especially if it's a small group.
Ann Lee, I have a question though. That age group is working. So tea in the evening, because I spoke to my daughter who's in that age, is 53. And she said, Mom, we're working. She said, maybe 55 and older, but she says, not the under 55. She says, most of us are working, trying to make as much money as we can for our retirement. She said, so.
It doesn't have to be during the day.
Well, if it's tea, well,
No.
maybe because I'm an English person.
Yes,
I'm
no,
an
no,
English lady.
I just mean have little group meetings.
Okay,
It doesn't have to be called a tea, it could be
right.
called
I just, yeah.
something.
but that was why, see, being English, tea,
Yes,
afternoon
no,
tea.
no. Just get-togethers with groups, in small groups in people's homes, where they're personally invited to it, to hear about everything that's going on and what's available to them as a group.
Jamie,
I think programming is going to help drive interest in that age group as well. I think just having availability of different trips and programs that that maybe draw that group into being engaged. The space is going to play into that as well. The new space. I really like what the library did, being able to kind of isolate in the evenings, the library itself, and then they have an area that can be utilized. And maybe that's something that can be captured. And I'm not saying that everybody after the age 65 goes to bed at 8 o'clock by any means, but I think there's a element of, if you're looking at 50 to 60-year-olds, many, some still have kids in school and into their 50s, raise my hand. So I think the programming, somehow marketing that, if we're really trying to draw, and the visioning, trying to incorporate some type of evening programming, maybe even into how we operate the senior center, would also help. And we're coming into football season, and I think the tables have been handy, at least with preliminary information. You're going to get a lot of 50-somethings at those games, and maybe it's kind of putting out, the did you knows. COA also wants to incorporate or values your input, your 50, 60-something input, or I like the idea of tea. I like the idea of I don't know, a COA cornhole tournament for
Oh, I like that too.
something like that. Even if you're, because I honestly, I think a lot of people just don't know. I wouldn't have known if I didn't get involved with the COA, and exactly how programs and things and how we can help assist. And ideas we have for the center. So
I think the small groups, we also, at the football games, the tables could have a sign-up sheet for people who would be willing to have a small meeting in their home, and what day is best for them. And also those small meetings can be used to find out what the 50s and 60s folks are looking for out from the COA, and the elder services, to see what they're interested in.
And
excuse me, Anita, I would like to, I know Jamie has to leave our meeting and she's had her hand raised a couple of times. So can I acknowledge her first and then, so she
Sure.
can leave, and then we'll come back. I'll come back to you.
Anita, thank you, Anita. I just wanted to remind you all, we're still having COVID. Okay. So anything we plan, like Ann Lee, I love your ideas. And what's really wonderful about that is, if God forbid, we have to pull back, and there are still some of us that have to pull back, and wait until the variant, et cetera, settles down. What's great about what you said, Ann Lee, is that if that had to be, I hate to say it, but a Zoom meeting, if people would feel more comfortable. But I just want to say that as we're looking at, all of the ideas are great, but don't forget that short term, we're still in the midst of this. And as a human service, health oriented, department, we want to be promoting and understanding that some people, it isn't safe for some people to be interacting in a certain way. So there's short-term stuff and then there's long-term stuff. That's all I'm saying. That I'm being respectful of what I'm hearing throughout the state with people grappling with, we're all scaling up, but how do we scale up in a way that if we have to pull back, or we can scale up slowly so that people are feeling included and safe. That's all. All great ideas.
Right.
Thank
They
you
are-
Anita, for letting me talk first.
Oh,
No problem.
no, go ahead, Nita. Anita, go ahead.
Well, I think when we did our Christmas table and we handed out questionnaires that day, we
Yeah.
did get a lot of feedback, and I don't know where all those sheets are. I know Liz had brought them back to the office, so they should be around. And that, if we look through those and read them over, it might give us ideas of programs that we might be able to set up in the evening to draw people in. I know exercise was one of them. And games was another one. So maybe dances was a big one. People wanted dances. And I don't remember all the others, but there were quite a few, and maybe we should pull those out and take a look and put that questionnaire back out there. That questionnaire could go on Third Thursday table. And with, please fill out the questionnaire and mail it back at your convenience. We're looking at a new senior center and we want to know what you want in there. And this is the questionnaire that, if you pull it out this week, we can get it together and print off some to take to Third Thursday.
Could we have a clipboard where we're asking folks that come to get cookies? Is there one idea or several ideas, and we can jot that down?
That's a good idea.
That's a good idea too.
Yes,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
In the population, the adults with disabilities, being a father of a son with an adult with autism, it's interesting, your senior population probably later on after 70s it has a need. And I think the COA, the facility is going to meet a lot of those needs, just the social aspect and drawing people out. And then I think that the adult disability population has that same thing. I think COVID's been very hard on that population as well. Whereas when we're talking the 50, 60 somethings, it's not more of a need for us to have the COA, but it's a value added to be able to participate, social gathering type thing. So it's kind of interesting when I look at it as a need when these disability adults, and then 50, 60s, more of cool things, entertainment driven, game driven type things. And then obviously the senior population, just making sure that, you're meeting all of those needs for social engagement and food and, the requirements like that. But I absolutely like the idea of, simple clipboard. I'm just thinking off the top of my head, I can imagine there's a lot of people that have a lot of ideas. But just, having a 7 p.m. or 6 p.m. thing where, adults with disabilities can get together and just meet to do something, an event, a movie,
Gary, what impressed me, and just to go forward with what you said, the day that Nicole needed help with delivering food and your son stepped up to do that.
Yeah.
And that was something that he could do. And I had said to my husband and thought a lot about it. There's got to be other things that someone with disabilities can do for the citizens of Littleton and make those people with the disabilities feel as if they're accomplishing something.
Yeah, I think it can be a very good match. I think adults with disabilities in the senior population, I think they've got a lot of energy. They want to do things, but they just need the guidance, right?
Right.
and, you know, some type of supervision just to kind of, in case something goes wrong, they, you know, they don't panic or anything. But I just think that the two populations, we'll be able to take advantage of this more so with a new center and programming and ideas. These kids, you know, kids I call, you know, 20 somethings, 30 somethings, you know, they'll shovel driveways. They'll help senior population do things. We really could engage that population much more probably than we do. It's not just our community. I know a lot of communities are dealing with this growing adult population that is just kind of out there. You know, once they turn 22, they kind of fall off the map. So it's up to the parents to kind of keep things going, keep them engaged. So
I
that was
love
just
it.
one example. You're right. The food, delivering the food from the food pantry, just a great opportunity to help. And that's something that we can definitely grow on more of that.
I think we're lacking a lot of that at the Elder and Human Services, and I'd like to see that become a really big part of our new senior center and engaging these kids, young adults.
I love it.
These kids can serve food for seniors. They can help clean up. They're just, they want to be engaged that way socially, and it makes them feel, you know, like they're doing something as well. So, but anyway, that's just, I'm off my.
That's a great idea, Gary, though I think you're right, you know, and there is a need there. So,
Yeah.
and it's important to think about that. Yeah, I hadn't thought about it that way myself recently, but I do know
So-
that the table at the football game was very successful though that night, the one time we did it. 'Cause I was there with Liz for that. Go ahead, Mark.
So thinking back to the library, about 6 years ago, at least 6 years ago now, probably maybe even longer than that, we actually hired a consultant and we're running focus groups to figure out what needed to be in the new library, right? The COA is doing the same type of thing through these surveys. They're just they're potentially a little older than what we had at the time we were going for the grants for the libraries and things like that. But you can also do something similar at like Third Thursdays, where we're going to do more like they were doing with the master plan. You can put up a bunch of whiteboards and say, what do you want in a new senior center, and have people write up what they want. What service do you use from the COA, right? And say, what service or program would you like to see the COA offer? And, you know, just start doing that. And Third Thursdays, the football games and things like that are a way to get people to give you that feedback. Basically, you know, without necessarily coming to a meeting or sitting through. The meetings become both like at the time we were conducting the focus groups for the library, we already, you know, the trustees had already decided we needed a new library, right, for space. But, you know, at that point, those meetings become a combination of getting the public on board with the new building, as well as engaging them on what they want to see. So you can say that, you know, we've outgrown our space and we need more space. When we have more space, what would you like to see in that more space, right? So I think there's both approaches, those that are, you know, where you're going to meet the people where they already are, like at Third Thursdays in the football game, and those where you're trying to get the people to come to you. And I think going to where the people are will probably be more successful this time around with COVID and everything else, rather than trying to get people to come to meetings.
I agree with that, Mark. I love the idea of having, I remember the, you know, some of those interfaces when the master planning was going on. So I think it's a great approach, and you're right.
Yeah, the
We've
Shreks,
got to
they're
get
called-
out to the people. We've tried focus groups, yes, but the turnout was terrible, and that's with people coming to us. And so we need to find another way.
They were called
Love that.
Shreks, right?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, the charrettes, yeah.
They were very effective. You had all the boards laid out, and they had food and donuts and coffee, and it was just kind of a neat.
It was,
Yeah.
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 So,
Marge,
yes.
one of our attendees, Anna Houston, has her hand raised.
Oh,
Can I
thank
have
you.
her speak? Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely, please.
Okay.
Welcome. Welcome, Anna.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Happy Monday afternoon. Great to hear all of these wonderful ideas. And I thought I would just share some thoughts based on the fact that I am in that 50 plus category. I really like the idea of having the T's, but also understand the concerns for the COVID precautions. So I was just thinking, and since Mark is here, I don't know if he could lend to this thought, but with the new library opening, what if some of the event spaces there could actually be used for some of the T type of events that that were discussed? And then also in terms of the library, if some of those boards that Mark was describing from what Master Plan used to do, if something like that was to be created and set aside at the library, could the librarians perhaps say, after they've assisted a customer, say, oh, and if you'd like to take a survey for the COA, they're asking 2 questions over here on these boards. It might just be another way to get folks where they are, because if they're already willing to be at the library and be out, they might be willing as well to spend a few minutes thinking about those questions and answering them while they're at the library.
So if the COA wanted to put up boards in the current library now with after third Thursdays, if you had those, a couple boards that you wanted to put up, we could probably get them in the current building. Getting them in the new building, I can't comment on anything because I don't know where there's going to be space until we're in the building, right, to put those boards. We cannot ask the staff to have people fill out surveys and things like that because it's just conflict of interest and things like that. You can't actually make them do things like that or ask them to do that. But we can have them there for people, in the entranceway, basically at least in the existing building. I know there's space in the entranceway where we could put them up because we put them up when we were building the library, trying to go to the library project. So if those boards are created for third Thursdays, we can keep them over at the library for the incoming traffic. I have to run it by the other board members to make sure it's okay, but I don't see that there would necessarily be an issue. And I think that's a great idea to do something like that, because you could also put them, make boards to put in the entrance to the COA Park and Rec side of the building too. So when people walk in, I just don't know the difference in the foot traffic between the areas. So put them all over.
I wonder if we could put them up at the entrance of the town hall as well, the main entrance.
Probably the select board would have to give us out their blessing, maybe. I don't know whether it's just Anthony or the select board, but anyway, it's worth, these are great ideas, I think, and it's worth exploring. So I'm trying to write everything down so I don't forget.
And Marge, one final idea to what folks have been saying. I know that there was a group out in front of Donaldson's a couple of weeks ago for the Walk to End Alzheimer's. And again, if there would be volunteers willing to go out on a couple of Saturdays, standing in front of Donaldson's with the same boards and asking shoppers, if they're Littleton residents, whether they would like to take a few minutes to respond to the survey.
That's a great idea, Anna. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'd be willing to help with something like that if it was a Saturday morning. So
great.
So can I also throw Anna on the spot and ask if she'd be willing to help put the boards together based on her experience with the master plan and what worked and what didn't for getting the feedback you wanted?
Hey, I was just trying to give you work, Mark,
I
know. If there is need, I would be happy to contribute. Just let me know.
Thank you.
So Lorelei wanted to speak.
Oh, thank you. Go ahead, Lorelei. I missed your hand. I'm writing too much.
Oh, I was just echoing on what Mark was saying. I love the idea of the whiteboard. If we're doing a whiteboard that we could write on at a third Thursday or something like that, because it sort of gives a visual to the folks walking by. And then if you see it and you see what's already on there and it gets your mind working, instead of everybody just randomly saying one thing, if we have the clipboard. That's all I was going to say.
No, that's a good point, though. I think you're right, the visual impact, and even if you have the
I think
board
having
with a
both.
couple of pre-planned thoughts there, so that people see them before, and they think somebody else has written them, type of thing, so. Different handwriting would be a good way to get people involved. Yes, Marilyn?
I think having the board and the clipboard, because maybe we could ask more questions on the clipboard, and maybe one of those answers might be then we could transfer it and add it to what's on the whiteboard.
Yeah.
People might be willing to quickly do a survey and then as well.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained. That's my attitude. So,
No,
so great. This has been wonderful. Thank you. We've had some great ideas. And it's 2:35. Look at that. We're doing pretty good, guys. And we've been pretty productive.
So,
Yes, Mark.
who's throwing any of this together for Third Thursday? Is that,
Well, I think Nicole and I, and maybe the people that are, how do you want to handle it, Nicole? You're the director and that's not,
Visioning,
It's-
are we talking, where did this conversation stem from? The visioning committee?
this conversation that we
Yeah.
just had, this
Yeah.
just stemmed from Marge Payne putting this on the agenda at the
Oh,
last
okay.
minute. When I sent, even David didn't know this was going to be on the agenda. When I was ready to send it out, I thought about it and I thought, we need to do some brainstorming about this. That was one of the reasons we were going to have a meeting in August anyway. So that's where it came from. It wasn't even, I didn't even tell Mark that I had put it on the agenda. So, but it's good information. So now we just need to get organized for Third Thursday, which is like around the corner. Only a few days away. So I don't know, Nicole, you have ideas for that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to look around and see what I can find here as far as the signs and all of the literature that we had at the last, at the football game. I don't know about a whiteboard here, but I can look and see what we have. And if we have one, I'm happy to bring it. And I know that at one point we had clipboards with little half sheets of paper where people could sign up for the newsletter and then check off like a couple of things that they were interested in, like fitness classes, education. And so, that was pretty well received when we did Third Thursday before. So maybe that's something too that we could look into.
How do we get these whiteboards? Would it be
so
expenditure?
I don't have whiteboards, but I have the large poster size, flip pages around. I probably have 3 or 4 of those that I can bring over. I don't have an easel to put them on.
I don't
But I
have
have
an
the
easel,
boards.
but I
I
have.
think we have one.
Or
I know that we did have
no,
one
I might
for
have an
computer
easel somewhere. I
class.
have to look. So, but I'll see what I have and bring it over to COA.
I have a children's chalkboard easel if we're really in need of one.
I think Nicole, there were easels.
I think there are from computer class. I just have to double check because
There
things have
should
been
be at
moved.
least
But
2 of those.
yeah, I'll double check and make sure they're still up here.
All right, Nicole, could you send an email out to say Mark and Anita and myself, and then we can go from there and figure things out so that we can help?
Sure.
Can you do that for us? That would be great. I think if you're willing to help Mark and Anita, it sounds like you are, and Mark's offered, to help. He has the,
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about, the papers.
Yeah, the huge pads. I have some of
Right,
those.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
I also have a whole box of those pads, so if you need more, let me know.
okay, thank you.
I get to get rid of mine first.
Marilyn.
Mine's still in a sealed box, so you can do that
Oh,
one.
all right. Well, hey, listen, we're on a roll. We'll use them at different events. Football games are coming up too,
Yep.
yeah, all kinds of things. So we
I
have
have,
to get out
I
there.
have
Yes.
large sandwich boards.
Sandwich boards?
Large sandwich boards like you see out on the in front of the town hall that says your taxes are due. Those big,
Oh.
I have a couple of those if we wanted to put, they're used for St. Vincent de Paul, so we would have to put some kind of a sign, make a sign or a poster to put over it.
Is that where we could put our sign for the free cookies?
Yeah.
Would that work for that?
Yeah,
Yeah, well, that would be helpful. Because that way, people will see it from a reasonable distance. So, okay. I'm getting an echo. All right. Oh, I was afraid to say anything because I was getting this strange echo. Can you all hear me?
Yep,
Okay.
I heard the echo too, so you're not crazy.
Oh,
I heard the
okay.
echo.
Oh, all right. It was strange. Okay. All right. I think we've got a little bit of organization here it's going to be Nicole and Mark and Anita and myself. Okay. Can we move on then to the interim director's report so that we do get out of here out of our meeting on time? You have a copy of Nicole's report in your packet that was sent out. You want to quickly run through it, Nicole?
Sure. So we have a lot of programming updates. Fitness classes resumed this month. I think that they are all full. They're going very well. Tai Chi is continuing at Fay Park. We're hoping to keep them at Fay Park through September and then bring them back into the multipurpose room in October. Everyone seems to be really enjoying being outside for that class. So that is really nice. We have this Wednesday, we have an ice cream truck coming to the courtyard for free ice cream. That's part of the Chenal 15 collaborative grant that I've worked on. It says on here coffee with a cop, but that's actually been canceled. So hopefully if you signed up, you were notified this morning. We're going to look to reschedule that in the fall. And as Marge said, the summer barbecue next Friday at Long Lake. The mystery bag program continues this month. For transportation, our van continues to run 3 days a week. We cannot add any more days because we don't have enough drivers. So I know that Marge mentioned it at the beginning of the meeting, but I'm going to mention it again because we really need some van drivers. So if anyone is interested or knows of anyone, in the month of July, we had 23 unduplicated riders. We made 117 trips in the month of July. ERAP, LRAP, and our mortgage assistant programs are still accepting applications. TREAD applications, the deadline is September 30th. Applications are on the website. Senior tax work-off program, we have 98 participants this year. And let's see, Marge mentioned the senior center tours. I also wanted to mention that August is National Overdose Awareness Month. And I wanted to remind everyone that within Elder and Human Services, the Littleton Coalition Against Addiction continues to provide resources and support. I was actually on a Board of Health meeting a few weeks ago talking about, the resources that we have through the coalition and also for mental health. In September is National Recovery Month. And to celebrate Recovery Month, we're going to be hosting a movie at Fay Park. So hopefully people can come. And Marge wanted me to mention, we got 2 donations. I'm going to be at the Board of Selectmen meeting tonight. We got $529 from Ed's Weenies. And we also received a donation from Kristen Grimes for $931.58 for the TREAD fund.
Wow.
Which is amazing. So
It is.
thank you to people who continue to donate. Makes a big difference in our services.
Yes, we have a wonderful community that supports us.
Can I ask Nicole a question?
Certainly.
Nicole, for the people listening, van drivers, is that a paid position or can they use it for their senior tax write-off?
It's a paid position. It's a part-time position. It's up to 19.5 hours a week. there's a good amount of training that goes into it with MART. So it's not a volunteer position, it's paid.
What are the requirements on the position? Do you need just a normal driver's
No, just-
license, commercial?
Yep, just a regular driver's license. And I think there's 2 trainings initially that you have to go through at MART. And then a drug and alcohol testing, employment screen, and a Corey check.
Okay.
It's a fun job. We have really great van drivers. We've always had a really good group of van drivers. And we would love to have someone come on board.
Well,
Okay,
people will be, go ahead, Mark.
One other question I have is whose ice cream truck?
Oh, I don't know the company, but it's through this grant. So the ice cream truck is actually going to Acton, Boxborough, and then coming here as their last stop. So sign up.
What time is the barbecue?
It's at noon. Oh,
Don't forget a lunch break, David.
I have to stretch out for that one, see if I can make it.
Well, you can run down and grab your lunch and then get right back to work.
Yeah, get it to go, yeah.
Yep.
Are there still a lot of applications available for the rental assistance?
for LRAP, I think we have 4. I think we have 4 open slots for LRAP. Right now, ERAP, we have more. Mortgage assistance, we have had no applications so far.
And
Wow.
what about the CASE Act?
I'm sorry?
The CASE Act from the federal government, is there applications for that as well?
No, no, it's the LRAP, ERAP, and mortgage assistance.
Okay,
And our funding comes from the CARES Act for
CARES.
those invoices.
all right.
Okay, thank you, Nicole. That was very informative. Any questions for Nicole? Okay. And do we have anything from Amy that you're aware of, Nicole? Nothing
No.
from Amy to report? Okay. So do we have a motion to accept the interim director's report, please?
So moved.
Thank you, David. Second?
Second,
Thank you, Ann Lee. All those in favor of accepting, thank you. Thank you. Would you get your hands up if you're voting? Thank you. I think we have almost, okay, I saw Mark's hand. Now the corner of my eye there. So, thank you all. All right, do we have anyone else from the public that, thank you for Nicole pointing that out to me that Anna was with us, is with us. So I appreciate that.
I don't see anyone else with their hand raised.
Okay. Having,
I have one more public thing.
Yeah.
There was a request to get the COA board into the tour of the new library, and we're working on that. We are waiting for the elevator to be functional before we have the COA board go in, which should happen who knows when. But we're waiting on the final elevator stuff, and then we'll set something up for the COA board so they can tour the new library.
oh, that's nice. Thank you, Mark.
It will most likely be, late afternoon, mid-afternoon, like 2:30 some afternoon, is usually the best time to go in. So I will, once the elevator's working, we'll set that up. So,
Great. Thank you.
and for the grand opening of the library, they are planning special events. They're doing it over 2 days and on a Friday and a Saturday, and early afternoon on Friday. I think they're planning senior related events. So maybe we'll have them coordinate with Nicole or
That would be good.
for that going forward. So
Well, maybe Liz will be here by then too.
well, Liz will definitely be here before the library is open. So
So the 30th isn't that far away.
I wish I could tell you what the opening was.
Well, you're getting there. I mean,
Yes.
it's amazing. I think it's quite amazing, the job that they have done. So, Matthew, do you have anything to add before we officially adjourn?
I don't, but thank you for asking.
Well, I'm
Oh,
You know,
it looks like Anna has her hand raised again. Hold on one second.
Okay,
Oh, Anna, you're still in here, so you can talk. I
She's
think you're
muted.
muted.
Yeah, you're muted.
here we go.
Yes, Madam Chair. So Anna
Yes.
Houston, I wanted to formally request whether or not the COA or its subcommittee on housing would be interested in hearing a 15-minute presentation that I created around housing for Littleton. And it is different than some of the others that have been shown recently, but it focuses a lot on the different income categories, and I offer up some numbers as to the number of homes in different categories that might be needed. So if you all are interested, I'd be happy to return at a later time to do that.
Okay, so,
Yes, David.
yeah, okay, Anna, that would be live. I take it that's not recorded, so you just present it live?
Correct, yes. I did present this to the planning board about 2 weeks ago, and they thought it was helpful. And I've added another slide as well to it. So yes, it is currently not recorded other than through the last presentation at the planning board.
Okay,
Sounds-
I would be interested, and I'm sure the rest of the housing board would also, as well as you, Marge, I'm sure.
Well, I
So
think,
how
actually, go ahead, David.
about if we, after the meeting, we can send each other some emails of the housing board and to yourself, Marge, try and figure out when it would be good, and then you present that to Anna and work out a time. How's that? Something like that?
That's fine, but maybe the whole board would like to view it.
That's true too.
So, I'll throw that open
Mark's-
first.
Mark's talking, but he's muted. There it goes.
I'd be interested in hearing it too. So if it's at the housing meeting, just let me know and I'll attend it. Or if it's at our full board meeting, that would be
Yeah.
good as well.
Yeah.
Also, since the full board meeting is taped, right, then more people could also hear it. So
Correct. So we could perhaps schedule that for our next board meeting, if Anna would be, I have to look at the date for that. Let's see, it was down here, September 13th, because of Labor Day, we're meeting late in September. Would be the
Yeah.
next full board meeting.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it then.
I would too.
If not sooner, that's great.
All
Okay.
right.
Thank you for offering, Anna.
Yes,
Sure.
Anna.
Yes, I would like to be able to get out to a lot of different folks in town, so I appreciate your time and the opportunity.
So would that be okay with that date? Okay with you?
So September 13th,
It's a Monday, 1:30.
it's a Monday. If I could be on a little bit later in your agenda, that would be great, because I do have a work meeting from 1 to 2.
Oh, that'd be fine. I'm sure we can manage that. We're very
Yep.
flexible. So
Thank
Anna,
you for the opportunity.
at the end of, toward the end of the meeting.
Terrific. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. I'm so
Thank you.
yes, thank you very much for speaking up and letting us know about it. So.
Great,
Okay.
thank
Great.
Perfect.
I know. This has been a very productive meeting, I think, and it's 2:53 PM. We've accepted the reports and everything. I don't think we have any other public input. So, do we have any other business that needs to come before the board at this time? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll
David,
second it.
and Marilyn seconding a motion to adjourn. All those in favor, please raise your hands.
Aye.
See everybody, everybody's got their hand up that votes, yes?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Ann Lee had to leave early. She did notify me she was leaving